Welcome, bunnies, to Eliza. I am not sure what episode it is. I'll flash it up on the screen. When we last left off, we're learning a little bit more about Rae, our manager, and her relationship with her brother. I'm still not entirely sure where we're going with this thing. I don't know how long it's going to be either. I'm considering actually playing another game alongside this one because of how long this game's gone on. I was not expecting over 10 episodes of a visual novel. So I'll play a little bit through this, and then I might try and do some more solitaire by the end. So yeah, let's go.
I could do more for him.
What more can you do?
What more can you do?
I feel bad about it. Some of what he's dealing with is his own fault, sure, but not all of it. He's just not built in a way that's suited for this world. I wish there were better ways we could care for people like him. Instead, he just gets thrown out of every place he lives. His relationship with our parents is really bad, too. They aren't willing to try to understand him, so it all ends up going through me.
That must be difficult.
It's all right, really. I handle it like anyone else. We all have our own problems. Anyway, we don't have to talk about my brother. Thank you so much for coming over. I wanted to say it's been really nice working with you.
It's been? Did something happen?
Well, no, but you aren't going to be a proxy forever, are you? I guess I assumed you'd be going back to your job at headquarters at some point.
I haven't decided what to do yet.
I haven't decided what to do yet.
Oh? So you're going to stay a proxy?
For the time being, at least.
For the time being, at least.
That's cool, but why? I'm curious. I mean, if a high-level job at headquarters was a possibility for me, I'd do whatever it took to get it. No matter what that job was, it couldn't be more stressful than running 3 counseling centers at the same time.
That's true.
I like being a proxy. I think something about it is good for me right now. As a proxy, I just sit and listen to someone and I don't have to say anything back. I just witness someone's sadness or fear or anger or anything, and I can feel how they feel, sympathize with it. It's a calm feeling, even when the client is worked up. It's
interesting.
I don't know, maybe it gives me perspective. I'm starting to wonder if I ever really spoke with anyone before. Like, anyone at all in my life? Were we all just talking past each other? Sorry, this is making no sense.
No, I get that. But you could also help even more people by working on Eliza itself, right? Not to mention make way more money. Anyone can be a proxy, but you're important. And kind of maybe like a genius. After you told me you used to work for Skhanda, I searched online and found some of your papers. They're, well, it's not like I can understand them, but they sure look super impressive to someone like me.
Please don't say that.
Oh, come on. Stop self-deprecating all the time. Look, I know this stuff seems like not a big deal to you. I get it, I really do. It's easy to undersell your own skills. I've done that my whole life. So take it from me, you don't have to downplay yourself. Take some credit for the amazing work you did, seriously.
Oh no, a message from Raina. I guess I should respond.
Sorry, Rae. Mind if I reply to this for a second?
Oh, go right ahead. I have stuff to set up in the kitchen anyway.
What did you think? How did you get my number? You used to work here, Evelyn. Everything is still in the database. I don't know what you expect me to see. It's big now, that's for sure. I remember when it used to run on my laptop. What you saw was just one of the server classes we have dedicated to it. There are 2 more currently operating and another dozen in various stages of development. In total, it processes more information on a daily basis than anything else we do. I had no idea you'd be using it like this. Yeah, it kind of feels like a Google optimization thing. Like, it feels like a huge service to analyze people to, like, advertise to them or that kind of thing. Like, what would you need to do with all that data other than analyzing it for products, right? If I did, I would be more worried about optimization. That wouldn't have been necessary. Most of the Eliza servers aren't running the therapy application. What do you mean? Again, this is the fishy part, isn't it? Consider the following. Eliza processes human speech from thousands, soon millions of people. All of that is going into its databanks. Much of it is information about life situations and emotional states, taking the form of stories people tell themselves and each other. At some point, after robust language processing and emotional reasoning, you begin to get something akin to general intelligence. So they're using a psychoanalysis artificial intelligence to create human intelligence. Robotic human intelligence. I would call it human model artificial intelligence. The next step is to take the base provided by Eliza and finally build the one thing that's eluded the field of AI for so long, general intelligence. A system capable not only of understanding commands and carrying out tasks, but reasoning about its world, learning and adapting. A thinking machine on par with human beings, and of course, eventually exceeding them. You're saying human talent? I don't know if that's what I'm hearing, but people tend to be unreliable and expensive, as I'm sure you know. The human brain is to thinking as the pack animal was to transport, slow and weak. The human brain is to thinking as the pack animal was to transport, slow and weak, but for centuries our only choice. Now we're finally developing the equivalent of powered vehicles for thinking on a mass scale. At this point, it's only a matter of time. We're on the cusp of fundamental shift. The important players here are quietly lining up their bets, positioning themselves to be at the center of this revolution. Luckily, Skhanda has an advantage the others don't, and it's thanks to you. Because of Eliza's original purpose as a tool for therapy, its core is built around emotionally driven reasoning. My belief is that emotional reasoning is a key ingredient in this field others in this field have overlooked. I'm not sure what you're thinking of is possible. Both of these are just kind of like, maybe that's not the thing. I would be more like, hey, have you ever thought about this being wrong? It's ambitious, certainly, but we can't afford to progress in small increments. Not with the world like this. Not with the competitors we have. I don't even know how you define intelligence. It's an excellent question, of course. This may sound odd to you, but I'll know I've successfully created a general artificial intelligence when I see it write a poem. Technically, technically computers can already write poems based on algorithms and machine learning. It's not technically artificial intelligence, but they can write poems and they do work. Those machines can write poems but aren't intelligent, so that doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's because that doesn't help at all. Like I would be you're an idiot. Because at the moment computers can already do that. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're intelligent. because they don't think for themselves. Most of the computers that do that. So the idea would definitely seem ridiculous to someone uneducated about poetry. Okay, I'm going to bed. Fuck off is what she's trying to say. What? That's not how that works. This house looks so cheerful and cozy. It does. There's so many plants, and they're adorable looking plants. I want that one. Everyone who lives here must really care about making it an inviting space. Rae seems to be a fan of plants. I think I get it. It's nice to have something to care for in a low-key way. Something to nurture. I'm interested in that. I was looking at that last episode for sure. I like that poster. Are they a band or something? I was always bad at keeping up with new music. It looks like an album artwork or something. Let's go into solitaire. Let's try hard mode. The max I can move is 2. So I can't stack up more than 2 at a time of one thing. Okay. What's our closest to get? Probably the starry ones? Yeah. So I want to get to here. Okay, 2 at a time. Remember, 2 at a time. You can, okay, 2 at a time. Yep. We're still following that. This is 3. But we'll unlock a new slot to make it 3 at a time as soon as we do this. Okay, there, 3 at a time. Okay, so that, we kind of want those things, whatever they are. Yep, that works. And the nearest one is that one. This can sit on this while I do that. Now, is there any 4 I can make right away? Not really. This is, I think, our only option. I need to remove all these, basically. So I kind of have to do this. Okay, we can do that. And that goes here. Bam, we unlocked a new slot. Bam. Oh, we might have fucked up already. I didn't, oh wait, no, hang on, this'll work. I'll do that. Just gonna go up here. That's another 4 slot. 4 slot. Yeah, okay. We want hard mode. Fuck yeah, fuck yeah. Forgot to drink my coffee. There's only one achievement on this game, and it's for defeating expert solitaire. So we'll try and do that next episode. We'll get a little bit in here. I'm going to hopefully edit out most of the solitaire fails and just show you the win. Which means that it should have only taken a few minutes. Rae returns from the kitchen, her hands caked in flour.
Sorry for abandoning our conversation like that. I just got something I really thought I should answer. It was kind of about what we were discussing earlier. There's someone at Skhanda who really wants me to come back to my old job.
Who? It wasn't Rainer, was it?
Well,
no big deal. Just the CEO of Skhanda texting you on your personal phone. Evelyn, you try to tell me you're not a big deal, and then Rainer Sai texts you personally at like 9 in the evening.
only because he wants something from me.
Still though, that's amazing. What did he say? I mean, you don't have to tell me if you can't. I know how Skhanda is about secrets, so I would understand.
He was saying, among other things, he said you could use general artificial intelligence to write poetry.
Is that the kind of stuff he likes to talk about?
I don't know. I haven't had many extended conversations with him. Seemed kind of ridiculous to me.
I don't know if it's totally ridiculous. Poetry, well, most poetry that isn't free verse has certain patterns, right? It has form and meter and other elements depending on the type. A lot of people think poetry can be whatever, but it doesn't quite work that way. So it's not really that far-fetched to think you could use some kind of software to approach it, or understand it, or maybe even create it.
Isn't the point, like, if you wanted to... If a computer can make something, so like poetry, because of the fact that it has rules, to prove that a software is intelligent to a human level, you would have to prove that it can choose not to follow rules. If the only reason you think that it can make the poetry is because poetry follows a format, then you're not proving anything, because anyone can do that. Anyone can follow rules. To prove that you have a human level intelligence, you have to be able to bend the rules. You have to be able to think outside of the rules and determine how to do something like that. So poetry isn't the best answer. Neither is art real. Like, there's no real way to test. I mean, at the moment, I don't think there is a real way to test. How do you prove something's thinking outside the box? How do you prove something's thinking with no rules? Because everything has rules in the sense that if we give them rules, they will perform those rules. I guess the rule that they have to follow is the fact that they're making up their own rules. You have to tell it to do something, and they have to be able to do it without knowing the rules beforehand and defining its own rules.
It doesn't strike me as antithetical to the spirit of poetry.
I didn't know you had such developed thoughts about this.
Dunno.
Did you study poetry?
Not specifically. I used to dabble in a few different kinds of arts and ended up learning a few things here and there. I've always had a wide range of interests. Of course, that meant I never concentrated on one specific area in school, which didn't do a lot of good for my career prospects. If I were smarter, I probably would have studied something more.
Are you not a manager of 3 firms? I want to tell Rae that kind of choice has very little to do with being smart, but I have the feeling she wouldn't believe me.
Have you ever been to a college recruiting fair for engineering and computer science grads? You must have, right? I helped run the Skhanda booth for one once, and it blew my mind. They took over the atrium of the building it was in. There were demo stations, free food, Skhanda t-shirts and swag. If a candidate seemed interested, they'd talk about flying them out to whatever Skhanda office they wanted to visit, just to see it. And all the other tech companies and a bunch of startups I'd never heard of had booths just like it, too. I couldn't even imagine being that wanted as a potential employee. Every job I've ever applied for, I've been one among hundreds or thousands. So yeah, my parents were probably right. I should have done computer science.
At least now you know Rainer likes poetry. Maybe you could have a conversation with him about it sometime. Then he'd learn who you are.
I doubt we'd have much to talk about. There's a pretty big difference between someone like him studying poetry and someone like me having opinions about it.
What's the difference?
Sometimes it's better not to cross that line, you know?
Having opinions about it, and there's not much of a difference there.
He's part of a different world.
Rae pauses to regard me for a moment.
Say, Evelyn, Are you in a relationship? I'm just curious.
Me? No, I wasn't doing so well for the past few years. And before that, I just never had the time. It was just research and science and work, and then I woke up one day and I was in my 30s.
She's 30.
Even if I wanted to date, I wouldn't
Ish.
know the first thing about how it's supposed to work.
She's drawn to look very, I don't know, 20s? Like early
I
20s?
wouldn't even know how to tell if
I
someone
feel.
were interested in me.
Yeah, that's perfectly understandable.
Well, it's harder to tell, I
I'm
guess.
kind of over relationships myself. Like, on a conceptual level. Not even in a sad way. Like, really okay. If someone and I end up getting along, that's great, but I'm honestly okay by myself.
Yeah?
Seems
That
nice.
seems nice, actually.
Yeah, I only tried to have normal relationships for so long because I thought it was mandatory, something expected of me. But now I see where people my age end up, how they live, and I feel lucky. I feel like I escaped. I mean, I think it's fine for others if they want. It's just not for me. I could maybe share my life with someone, but it would have to be platonic. I'm not into, the physical aspect of it. Never have been.
Interesting.
That's made it tough. I've never found someone who is okay with just like hanging out and that's our relationship. People will say they're okay with it and then it turns out they aren't. It's frustrating.
It definitely would be.
There are some relationships like that, though.
Sure, and I know some people who have that. I haven't really put that together for myself yet. Sometimes it's hard to escape feeling like it's wrong somehow. I hope we can add features like that to Eliza at some point. Some knowledge and understanding around sexuality and identity and relationships. So
That would
people
be
who are
an
different in
interesting
some way have
way to
someone
do it.
talk to, someone to help them work through how they feel and maybe point them to some resources.
Because, like, at the moment, we've got, like... They kind of just go, here, have some, you know, drugs, depending on what is wrong with your mood. So far, in the visual novel. But that doesn't help with actual problems and, like, things like sexuality. You can't just go, oh, here, have some drugs, you'll be fine. That's not something you can just medicate. Like, you have to deal with it at some point. And if you're just taking antidepressants or like anxiety kind of things, it's not gonna work.
That sounds like a good idea. I'm not sure how well it could really understand, though.
Even so, just providing a space for people to be listened to can be really valuable, you know? I've seen it with my own eyes. People who get the courage to talk about themselves in a way they never could with another human being. And Eliza is what makes that possible. I know you want to avoid giving credit where it might not be due.
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry. I'm sorry I keep coming down on it.
Evelyn, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I think maybe the reason you're so down on Eliza is because you're down on yourself. I don't know what happened that made you leave what you had behind, but it must have been hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still don't know what happened, but I'm just going to assume that it was hard for her because
lost
she's
that
not talking
time.
about it with anyone.
Are you okay?
People keep asking me that. I really don't know. I'm sorry.
No.
Are we gonna
no,
sit in
don't
the seat?
apologize. Actually, can I suggest something?
What's that?
Have you ever gotten counseling yourself?
What, with Eliza? You think I should?
Yeah, I do. You've been the proxy, but maybe you could try being the client sometime. It would be educational, at least. Isn't that what you were doing? Testing your product in the real world?
So maybe she's going to
Maybe.
talk
Just
about it and we
something
can
to
actually
consider.
see what's happening.
Speaking of therapeutic activities, it's time to do some baking. I've got the dough all set out downstairs.
Are we going to
We're going
actually...
to do 3 batches tonight, 3 different kinds.
3 kinds? You're really outdoing yourself, Rae.
Nah, this is nothing. Oh, I have a favor to ask, by the way. Next time you talk to Rainer, ask him what his favorite type of cookie is.
It's adorable. Is this chapter 4? Yeah, chapter 4. Is there a name for chapters? I can't remember. No, it's just chapter 4. We're gonna have to talk. Whoa, why are we in a pool? What's happening? It's a dream? It's too weird. Too weird. Okay, chapter 4, next episode. Tell me if you're enjoying the series. I'm gonna continue doing the series, but like if you want more like a horror series to run alongside it, you know, leave a comment. Tell me if you do want to see that, because I have a game lined up that I think would be nice. It's kind of like a point-and-click adventure, Lovecraftian. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully we get that achievement, 100% the game. I have no idea how many chapters there are. I may have done a little Google off screen looking it up to kind of figure out, you know, how long I have left. And I couldn't find a direct thing for chapters, but I did accidentally notice that they said that you will choose your responses instead of following Eliza. So that hasn't happened yet. And we're getting counseling this chapter, so I'm guessing that's chapter 5 that we actually start messing with Eliza. When does it end? What's the end goal? I don't know. Yeah, I'll see you we'll find out next time. So see you later. Bunny out.